And to get started here, I'm going to show you something that I kind of stumbled upon here on the internet. And it's just a few different things, but I think you'll find them. You probably already know these, but what's funny is, first thing is, the average age of technicians is between 40 and 55 years old. I did not know that it was that high. Um, it kind of puts a little bit of a perspective on, because there's not guys coming behind these guys. When I thought about the show talking to you, I was thinking about new guys, but now I'm kind of thinking there's not as many new guys as there needs to be in the trade.
That's correct.
And that kind of puts the new guys, to me, at an advantage, because they're needed pretty desperately, especially people that are worth a rip, are needed just in droves. So let's say you're coming out of trade school. Here, let's open it up like this. You're coming out of trade school, you're a brand new technician. How would you approach finding a company? Let's just start with that basic conversation.
Okay, so you're a greenhorn, and if you told the average owner that I just got out of the local 2-year class or whatever, they're not going to do bat flips and thinking you're going to know a lot. In fact, you might even get some disparaging comments like, well, they didn't teach you what you need here. So there's always that little hurdle. I think if I was brand new out of school, I would look for a company that has a lot of, if you're going to service track, I mean, you got to understand that it could be install track or service track.
Right.
If you're starting on the service side, you're most likely going to be in the maintenance department, and cleaning relatively new systems typically, and learning the ropes and beginning your OJT, or even a scheduled training class. Very few companies have we always use the term career path. Well, there's a lot to that, right? It's not just, well, here's 12 inches of books, and by the time you get to the end of it, you'll know everything. Well, that doesn't work. How does he learn the tips and tricks that a technician who's been in the field a while and knows how to get a system up and running while he's waiting on a warranty part, let's say? Mm-hmm. Right? They don't really teach that at Votech too much. And some of the real world stuff, you can't learn in a book. You'll never learn it in a book. That's why they call it real world. You've got to live in that real world to get that real world experience. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have a lot of patience. When they're kind of at the bottom of the ladder climbing up, they want to maybe jump 3 or 4 rungs and get ahead of the game. But you can't rush skill development. You can do more repetition. You can get better at it faster, but you still you've got to do the reps, right?
That's absolutely right. And you mentioned, knowing those little things, like as a technician, I would tell a young technician, if I were speaking to one, hey, it's a 2005 train unit. Hey, check that TXV, because a lot of them were bad, stuff like that. And there's different, I just pick on train, but there's all sorts of stuff for different years that you could say, hey, when you go out there, I mean, this was a pretty prominent problem back in the day. So if I was a young technician starting off, it would behoove me to have a good relationship, or start good relationships with the older technicians, I would think, right?
Well, that's correct. And one of the things I teach at Outdoor University, and also in my manager's class, is this concept of new guy syndrome. New guy syndrome. Okay, so what? And the point is, of the whole thought process is, what is going through the mind of a new guy when he on his first day? Okay, and then how should we in other words, how should we anticipate the questions he might have on his first day? And how should the team greet a new guy? How do you make a new guy feel welcome, feel like I made the right choice working here? I won't go into a lot of stories, but I've seen where a really qualified guy, great, good personal content that he has, good character and things like that, went home the first day at the shop, and he told his wife, she goes, how'd it go? And he said, man, I think I made the wrong choice, because he was hassled, and they didn't tell him to bring his lunch, and they said, well, okay, well, you're not going to eat lunch today. I mean, all this crazy stuff the first day. But if you train the team to bring on a new guy, and also just as important, a new guy needs to understand a couple things. Like, for example, how should a new guy enter like a service meeting, for instance, as far as they're sitting down with everybody else or whatever, but do you want to be the class clown? Do you want to tell all these jokes? Do you want to just try to cut up? Are you taking notes? Are you getting up there and introducing yourself? A lot of companies don't have a formal process of introducing. Here's Zack. He's a new guy, man. He's tech. I guess what, Zack, 8 years in the business. Whatever little informal thing, instead of getting you up there. Somebody who was assigned to work with Zack the first day greets Zack. You're the new guy. They greet you in the parking lot. They're waiting for you to come. Hey, Zack, welcome, man. Come on in. Let me show you where the bathroom is. Let me show you. Show you some basic things about the operation, and begin to make you feel comfortable, and then introduce you to the team, the person who's assigned to the new guy. And that experience in doing it that way goes really a long, long way. There's different versions of it, but you definitely can if you just start thinking about new guy syndrome, all the things that happen to a new guy. How can a new guy screw his first day up, right? Staying on the phone all day, let's say, or when you're riding in the right seat of the truck, man, don't pull out your phone, and talk to the guy next to you. Ask some questions. They want to learn about you just as much as you should be interested in what they're doing. So,
right,
right, things
make
like
life
that.
easier. Yeah.
New guy syndrome. It's really a big deal, and it goes a long way. Companies who keep people and have what they call a good culture, that part of the onboarding is another term for that too. I like to use my little terms. New guy syndrome. Some people say, oh, you go through the onboarding process. So I said, well, let's deal with new guy syndrome, which is the same thing.
I like new guy syndrome. Onboarding, I think of like a pyramid scheme for some reason. I think of, because I remember them talking in a sort of, I don't know, it's like a euphemistic language where everything is changed slightly, but means the same thing.
Corp talk to me, corporation talk. It's
this
onboarding, and
that's exactly right.